Alright, what's up YouTube? I'll try and get this video out here. Had the air compressor kick on and then the air conditioner kick on. So, without further ado, this is kind of a workflow video for using random width lumber. And more how to sort of deal with random width lumber. You can get it a lot cheaper than you can sort of thickness or S32 I think, or S34. Which is, where they mill three faces. They'll mill this face, and then one face on the side, and then leave this. Or you can get it with both faces on the edge unmilled. This is kind of how to deal with that. With short pieces like this, it's not a problem. You can just take it to your jointer, run it on the jointer, and that gives you a nice true edge. You can run on the table saw, which that's a perfectly good way to do it. Lumber like that is more expensive. There's a sawmill south of here where I can get random width lumber really cheap, and so I kind of needed a way to deal with that without it costing me a fortune to either or having to cut everything down to a manageable length for the jointer. So here's kind of what I'm planning on, and I just tried it out on this piece and it worked beautifully. This is the track for my Festool track saw. Here it is. It's a TS75. Right now it has a panel blade in it, or a blade that's meant more for MDF or that type thing. But it also works for ripping. Anyway, yeah, I have a rip blade for it, and I'll show that in a later video and use it when I kind of get more going. But what you can do is you need your board to be about as thick, or you need a backer if you're doing it on a thin board like this. And so I just used some MDF that I had sitting on top of the cut table here. And so what you can do is just sort of position them where you've got your backers and then your board and then a backer. You can just take your track here, just kind of line it up with the other edge of the board. I guess let me flip the board around here so you can see a rough edge. I just did this and it worked so well that I thought I'd get it on camera. You can just take it and line it up with the edge of your board like that, or however you align it. I'm not going to actually cut this, but and then you can just take your track saw, set it on top of there, just cut it. Then you have three of your faces dealt with. Then you get to this point where you have a good edge here. You can take the table saw and make standard width lumber out of it, or you can use it on your table saw and mill, or cut off however much you want. But you can do this. I made my table here 10 feet long, so I could do this to 10-foot lumber without any trouble. I've got a 10-foot guide here on order, so I can just get rough cut, rough sawn lumber, random width from the sawmill, plop it on the table, or actually I guess the easiest thing to do would be run it through the planer first and get it thicknessed, and pop it on your table here. Take your track saw and pop off one edge, and then you can just run it through your table saw, and you're done. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it at that point. It's just a really nice sort of workflow. The table here is about the same height as the tailgate on my truck, so I can just back the truck up here to the garage door, slide the work onto the table here. If it's sheet goods, here's an example of about a quarter or 3/4 of a piece of MDF just sitting on top here. You can just slide it on top there. There's a depth adjustment here on the front of the track saw, where you can just set it to where it only goes down so far, and just barely kisses the top of the table here, but yet cuts your work. I mean, the workflow with this track saw is just awesome. Like, I don't even know what to say about it other than it's just like it makes things super easy. Especially like I'm kind of in the process of starting up a small cabinet shop here. It kind of initially started out where I was just doing work for this house, and then it kind of turned into hey, can you make this? Can you make this? Hey, I'll pay you to make this, and so forth. So It's just me. I've got a guy that helps me occasionally, but like I kind of want to set everything up to where I can do it, you know, with just pretty much myself. And you know, if I ever get bigger, I could actually pay somebody to help me. But I'm trying to set things up and make it as easy as possible. And man, this track saw really helps. Like, I don't want to sound like a shill for Festool. They're not, you know, paying me or anything like that. Although if you know anybody at Festool is watching, send me other stuff. I'll be happy to review it. This is my first Festool, you know, thing of Festool products here. It's this TS75, and then the bigger of the dust collectors. It's a CT36. So far, I'm just blown away by the stuff. You turn on the track saw, the vacuum kicks on automatically. You don't have to mess with it. It turns off automatically when you're done. It's really quiet. I wish I'd have known about Festool earlier, quite honestly. I mean, I don't want to sound like a shill for them. That I, you know, am in no way affiliated with them, other than I like the, you know, first of their products I've tried here. Now I did get some of the clamps that go on there. I figure that will make rough cut lumber easier, but they just slide in the end of the track here. Just mount on there like that. I figure for you know, varying width, that'll make it a little easier to keep the track from sliding around. But there you have it. I mean, that's the track saw set up. You don't really need the clamps for sheet goods. It's got this awesome, you know, grippy stuff on the back here. Like I've pretty much used it for nothing but MDF so far, but I've not needed to clamp it. It sticks to the MDF, you know, good enough where it's not going to move around. But so there's the cut table and kind of the workflow here. I figure it'll work really well for sheet goods too, because you can just take your track saw, break up your sheet goods, and then take it to the table saw. So it should make this pretty easy. And let's say this, you know, kind of started out as just doing stuff for the house here, but now I've kind of got some orders for you know, other things. So I just kind of wanted to show that off and kind of talk about the workflow you can do with the track saw here. This is my first track saw and first, you know, sort of encounter with them, and I'm just amazed. It's really an impressive product, and I really wish that I bought one years ago. It makes you know, makes stuff like this really easy. And this is nice because, you know, I can do that to a 10-foot piece of lumber and not have to, again, not have to stick it on the jointer. But anyway, I guess I've talked here for about 8 minutes, so I'll jump off here and just leave you with, you know, click, comment, subscribe. If you're from Festool, send me stuff. I'll review it. Oh yeah, and I think this video will probably be about the time I break 10,000 on my views. So if you're somebody at Festool, I'm happy to review your products, or any other company. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Click, comment, subscribe.